Prices are dropping in Fairfax County, which is not something that you've heard in quite a while. We are here in June 2025, and we're seeing trends that have been different in the last couple of years. And so given that information, I wanted to share with you a little bit about more affordable neighborhoods that you can find in Fairfax County. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Paul Kim. I'm with the Fast Results Group. I am your favorite Northern Virginia realtor here, serving Northern Virginia, DC, as well as Maryland. And today I want to share with you a little bit about what's happening in this market and maybe what the more affordable neighborhoods are right here, right now. And I'm going to give you 4 of them. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to give you some bonus tips on how to navigate these times with prices dropping a little bit to get you the best home for the best price. So stick around to the end, make sure it's worth it for you. So before we get into the 4 neighborhoods that I'm going to share with you, I want to give you a broader perspective of what the Fairfax County market looks like right here and right now. And to do that, we are going to go to Bright. If you're not sure what Bright is, it is our MLS. And to share with you a little bit of this housing data. As of May 6, 2025, the new data isn't out yet, but let me show you some of this information here. Compared to last April of 2024, if we're looking at April 2025, which was just a month ago, there's a small dip in the amount of transactions that have taken place, just minus 1%, but it is a little bit less. You see that even though there are less transactions, the median sold price has actually increased $25,000, which is about 3%. Not bad. The days on market is a day higher, which means it's technically slowing down for sellers, but really what's the difference between 5 days and 6 days? This is actually where the information gets interesting here. The number of pending sales has dropped by 6.5%. At the same time, there is an increase in new listings by 7.5%. Ultimately, what that means is that the inventory is increasing. And as you can tell by the next line down here, there are a huge number of active listings that are available now. It's an increase of 62%. In a sentence, that means right here in Fairfax County, the inventory is increasing. Now for buyers, it's just simple laws of supply and demand. If there is more supply, that means that prices can be better for you. And that's why today I want to share with you what some of those more affordable 4 neighborhoods are. So an increase of inventory, while it does sound good for buyers, it's important to know why it's happening. It's not because for some reason Fairfax County all of a sudden is going to hit a recession. If you've been following the news at all with the new administration, there has been some up and down in some of the policies. There have been some federal layoffs. And because we are so close to DC, a lot of that is impacting the housing market as well. There is a little bit of job uncertainty for people that are working for the federal government, and that might be what's pushing the prices to go down with the increase in inventory. Is that going to affect everyone? Maybe, maybe not. Is it something to be afraid of? From what we can tell, while the inventory is increasing, technically speaking, going back to this chart here real quick, you see the months of supply here, right? Until it crosses that 2-month mark, it's still technically a seller's market because we're supposed to have 60-day supply of inventory. So even though the market is slowing down a little bit, we're still kind of in a seller's market, technically speaking. That being said, given the state of the market in the last 2-3 years and how crazy it's been for a buyer trying to find a home, you may not get another opportunity like this for quite a while. So let's get into it. What are the top 4 neighborhoods that are affordable being relative depending on where you're coming from in the Fairfax County area? The number 1 top most affordable neighborhood here in Northern Virginia, I would say, is Springfield, Virginia. Let me share with you a little bit of data here. So as you can see, according to Redfin, which I'm sure you may or may not be familiar with, the Springfield housing market has actually gone down 3% since last year. There are a number of homes sold that have actually increased and the days on market have increased, but overall the price has dropped a little bit. Now, what kind of homes are there in Springfield? Well, I have for you here, I just pulled it up on Redfin right now, real time, what is available. Generally, you're going to find a lot of townhomes and single family homes, detached homes that are for residential purposes. Springfield is kind of a quieter area, but it's still close enough to DC where, depending on where you have to commute to, the commute's not bad. This is a condo, $334,000, townhome, a lot of townhomes. Most of the homes are going to be a little bit older. Every once in a while, you're going to get a new construction home like this, like 1.65. Let me just take a look. 925K, 700K. It's still not cheap depending on where you're coming from, but for Northern Virginia, this actually is more affordable. Now in Springfield, there are going to be multiple school districts. People tend to like West Springfield High School a little bit more than the other schools, so keep that in mind. And if you have any questions about that, again, you can feel free to reach out to me and I'm happy to answer any questions you have. But for the most part, this is what Springfield's going to be like. A lot of older single family homes as well as townhomes. Some people will say that Springfield, Virginia is ideal for families who are looking for a quieter living environment, kind of outside of the city, but also close enough to DC where you're not too far removed. There is a lot of nature, a lot of trees, older homes, but again, they are generally more affordable, and the proximity to 95, 495 is beneficial for commuters. Number 2 on the list of the top affordable areas to live in Northern Virginia is none other than Burke, Virginia. I am a little bit partial to Burke because I grew up there. I lived there for 10 years or so while I was growing up into high school. Right now, actually, the median sales price, as you can see that I'm highlighting right here, has gone up 4% since last year. What that means is simply that maybe there are more people looking for affordable housing, and they're moving to Burke because it's such a nice area to live. Now Burke, it kind of feels a little bit like Springfield, very residential, has a lot more green. The homes are mixed as well, a lot of townhomes as well as single family homes. Let me go here to Redfin to show you. I have Burke pulled up, again, real time. You got a townhome here, 600,000, detached single family home, close to $1 million. Another townhome, 525. Single family. This actually is Springfield, but like I said, it's close to Burke, so I guess it got caught up in here. Single family, $900,000. Townhomes in the 600-ish. It's crazy to me because a couple of years ago, these prices will be astronomical, but now they are affordable. Welcome to Northern Virginia. Who is Burke ideal for? You could argue probably a lot of the same types of people in Springfield, but there are different schools, and geographically it's a little bit further west. And if you look on the map, you're going to see Springfield basically bordering the Fairfax County Parkway, and just west, maybe even northwest of that, is the Burke area. So again, the reason why people like Burke is because it's quiet, it's family friendly, nature. Not as much of an urban feel, but it is further away from DC and the city if that's something that's important to you. Number 3 on my list is Fairfax, Virginia. Now, Fairfax gets a little bit tricky because it is broad and it's very diverse. However, that's part of the reason why people do love Fairfax, because of the diversity in culture, in housing, in food, in basically everything. So if we go to the data, if you look at Fairfax, Virginia as a whole, year over year, prices have dropped close to 1%. Now sitting here at $738,000 for median sales price. If you go into current listings on Redfin, you are going to see what looks like a townhome, maybe a condo. A townhome for $810,000, a rather large townhome. You have a single family home at $900,000, $685,000. You have condos. You have older single family homes like this, $800,000 to $900,000. You have much bigger homes built in probably the 90s and the early 2000s that are crossing the 1.7 mark. More townhomes, single family home. I mean, you could take a look for yourself, but my whole point is that there's a lot of diversity in terms of housing that you can find in Fairfax, Virginia. People like Fairfax, Virginia because it's such a nice central location to wherever you need to go. But again, if you're in the more western side, close to Chantilly, which we'll talk about in a little bit, you're going to be further from the city, but you are closer to Dulles International Airport if you have to fly a lot. If you are close to the eastern side, like heading into Falls Church, Annandale, that area, you're closer to the city, and you're closer to stuff and Tyson's. But depending on where you're going to be, you're going to have different amounts of access to things, but then also the cost is going to vary. So who is Fairfax right for? I mean, you could say anyone, literally anyone. It's just finding the right place in Fairfax that suits what you're looking for and what your budget is to make sure that it's the right place for you and your family. And last but not least, number 4 on my list for now, which is definitely not exhaustive, is Chantilly, Virginia. All right, we'll go into the data. We're looking at a median sales price now of $660,000, down about 3% since last year. I briefly mentioned it a little bit earlier, but Chantilly is just west of Fairfax and north-ish of Centerville. The location is convenient depending on where you need to go. It has access to major highways. It's pretty close to Dulles International Airport. You can hop on 66 and drive east into the city if you need to. But I think a lot of times people like Chantilly because it is quieter. You tend to get a little bit more space, and you have access to highly rated schools just like Springfield and Burke and Fairfax as well. If you pull up Chantilly in Redfin, you have a similar hodgepodge of types of homes. You have a single family here for $560,000. Now, one thing that you'll get in Chantilly, because it's further west, that you won't find as much of in Burke and Springfield, maybe a little bit in Fairfax, is these newer construction townhomes. As it is, whenever you get to a major city, you start developing closer to the city, which is DC, and then develop outward farther away from it. And because of the 4 that we discussed today, Chantilly is the furthest west. Well, it's going to be the one that developed the latest and most recently, which also means you're going to find more updated, newer homes for a pretty decent price. For example, this guy right here, pretty newish townhome, just over $1 million. This is in Fairfax. I don't know why Redfin's putting it here, but here it is. You get into Chantilly, you get single family homes that are in the 5,000 square feet range for about 1.3. Now this home in particular, I was looking at actually earlier today. One thing you have to keep in mind is that for Chantilly, there's areas that are west into Loudoun County as well, which this qualifies. And then there's the eastern side of Chantilly, which is Fairfax, Virginia, which is kind of what we're focused on. But as you can tell, well, maybe you can't tell, but one thing that you learn from here is that the Loudoun County side, the housing does tend to get a little bit cheaper and thus a little bit more affordable as well. You get more land, it's quieter, but again, the trade-off is that you are further away from urban life, DC, Arlington, etc., etc. But it's the trade-off that you make for affordability sometimes. Townhomes, these are likely built in the early 2000s, $700,000. A lot of these townhomes, you can get this is the new construction stuff that I was talking about. They're still developing. A lot of these actually are probably condos, two floors. That's how they're building a lot of new construction these days. The bottom 2 floors would be 1 unit. Top 2 floors would be a unit. Not too expensive, not too cheap. Just scroll past some of those. And then, as you can see, a lot of townhomes and some single family homes that are relatively affordable. Got one here popping up in Aldi. It's a little bit further west, and we won't talk about that one today, but that's kind of Chantilly. So who is Chantilly right for? Pretty much anybody that could live in Burke or Springfield or Fairfax, but you're okay being farther away from Washington, DC, and maybe you want a little bit more space. All right, so good job making it this far. those are my top 4 affordable neighborhoods that I probably would live in if I was looking right now at this time. And as I promised, there are a few bonus tips that I'll give you to navigate this market. Some of them are simple, some of them maybe not so much that you haven't heard of, but here they are. Number 1, and this is more common, but get pre-approved early. I've seen people do it a little bit too late. It does not help them. Number 2, and this is probably one of my favorite, is look specifically for motivated sellers. A lot of times you can tell they're motivated just by the comments that you see in the agent remark section, which you probably can't see, but I can see it. It might literally say motivated seller, but you can also tell by the days on market. How long has the home been on the market? You can tell by price drops. There are different ways to see, but obviously if they're more motivated to sell, you're going to have more leverage in negotiations as a buyer. Number 3, you're going to want to use your contingencies wisely. And by contingencies, I mean the appraisal contingency, the financing contingency, and the inspection contingency. I'm not going to go into too much depth about what all those are and the strategies that we use to win for our buyers. However, you can get crafty with all of them depending on what your specific situation is, as well as what the seller situation is. So talk to me about using those strategically, and that'll help you win as well. And finally, last but not least, it's always going to be about which homes sell the fastest and demand the most. There's certain things that you can see in a home that will basically tell you, even just from the pictures, that this home is going to go like quick. 1 weekend, done, maybe over asking price, maybe no contingencies. If you can learn what those things are, it'll help you in your negotiations as well. It may even just be like, hey, you know what? I don't want to pay that much. I don't want to fight for it. They can have it. It'll save you some time. And that's it. So we're here right now in Fairfax County facing a little bit of a unique market in the last 4 or 5 years. In the grand scheme of things, obviously there's ebbs and flows in the market, but really in the last 4 or 5 years, it's just going straight up. Now might be the lull that we need in this market as buyers to get you into the right home for the right price. So if you have any questions about a particular home or about your journey in trying to purchase a home that's right for you and your family, please don't hesitate to reach out and call me, text me, email me, whatever is convenient for you. My team and I will be excited to help you in whatever way we can. If this video helped you at all, feel free to like it, follow the channel, and stick around because we'll give you more information than you could ever ask for. Talk to you soon. Thanks.